Young Americans who don't vote, why don't you? Sort by controversial for the real answers to the question. Oh, that's right. Well, off I go. That's Reddit for you. Ask the people's opinion on a good topic, then downvote them to hell for giving an honest answer. I went to vote, but I was still registered to vote in a county 3 hours away, so I couldn't apparently. At least in California, there's a quick web form you can use to tell you if and where you're registered. I've just gotten in the habit of checking when an election's coming up for my own peace of mind. This is so dumb. In Australia I could be on the other side of the country and still vote for my representative. I used to not vote because I thought I was protesting a broken and corrupt system. I thought by participating in it, I would legitimize it. Years later I realized that those in power really don't want you to vote after all. That's why they make it so hard to. So now I vote out of spite. I started voting out of spite to Lamau. This is the way. From my cousin, I had 2 classes during the day and an exam at night that I needed to study for. We don't have early voting and I had no time. If I was 65 plus and retired, I'm sure it would be easier. We need to teach people about absentee ballots. Get them in the mail, fill it out, and mail it back. No work missed. I had a professor that said we could not have any excused absences for political reasons, then scheduled a quiz 11/7. He was a garbage person at a garbage school, Curry College, and I only lived an hour away, so I still drove home to vote. But if I had cared about the class and it had been farther away, it would have stopped me. Now the answer is that I live in Rhode Island and my vote, officially, does not fucking matter. I didn't register as a Democrat when I registered to vote, so I couldn't vote in the primaries. I'm regretting that decision. In California, it's possible to request a day of crossover ballot for a party primary if you're registered no preference. Wait, you have to register with a party? In the UK you register to vote but with the government. When you vote for whoever. Edit, thanks for the info, guys. As you can tell, I'm a bit ignorant on US voting processes, and slightly the UK ones too. I didn't vote in my early 20s because I couldn't make it to the polls due to work. In my mid-20s I tried to, but they moved my polling station and I couldn't find it. 3 different times. In my late 20s to today I do vote, but I moved so my polling location is easy to get to and I now have a job with normal hours. Makes it easy to do. In my mid-20s I tried to, but they moved my polling station and I couldn't find it. 3 different times. Why can't America even do the simplest things right? Here in the Netherlands you get your voting ticket, not the actual ballot, don't know what to call it, in the mail, and it literally tells you where the nearest polling station is. Also, polling stations are opened here from like 5 AM to 8 PM. Work is no excuse then. Why is work a reason to not vote in a country so fixated with democracy/voting? Surely you would get time off. I got caught up in the opiate epidemic currently sweeping the nation and currently do not have the right to. Ouch. I hope this changes for you. I'm sorry. That is such a dumb law. Both putting people in jail for using drugs and not allowing people who've served time to vote. How are you doing now? It's not my turn yet. I vote next week. Question from a non-American: why doesn't everyone vote on the same day? Is it because your population is so large so they stagger the voting? I'm too overwhelmed by all the resources and information out there that it's very intimidating. I'm not good with all that government/politics talk either, so that makes it tough to figure out a starting point. There is a site called isidewith.com where you can take a quiz that matches you with candidates. You can answer as many or as few questions you would like, rate their importance to you, give yes/no or more elaborate answers, and even get short explanations of hot topics. It's really helpful as a starting point. I personally don't vote due to my lack of knowledge. People tell me I should vote, but without an understanding for what I'm voting for I see no point because I could be voting for the wrong thing. I moved to a different state recently and didn't have time to change my registration. Remember the episode of South Park where the townspeople were forcing Stan to vote for the new mascot, and the candidates were giant douche and turd sandwich? For most elections, it always seems like both candidates are just absolute trashy people, and in the eyes of a young person who wants to see strong candidates instead of bickering boomers, it only makes it harder to want to vote, especially when they must choose between a turd and a douche. Or the Halloween Simpsons episode where Kang and Kodos are running for president against each other. Well, I believe I'll vote for a third-party candidate. Go ahead. Throw your vote away. I voted, so don't attack me, but if we could vote online, I bet we would see at least 60% more votes from young people. After almost 20 years in the tech industry, I can unequivocally say this is a bad idea. Voting online creates vulnerabilities that would call into question the results. That's already starting to be a problem now. Because I am too young. How dare you? My life peaked when Ralph Nader was winning New Mexico for the first 4 minutes of the 2004 election. Upset young Americans. I'm in the UK, but I think a lot of young people the world over are in the same boat. Since I turned 18, there hasn't been a single vote where I voted for the winning side. That's 4 general elections, 2 big referendums, I don't even know how many council elections, EU Parliament elections. It's easy to feel disfranchised when your generation is overwhelmingly overruled by older generations. Apathy, the answer is apathy. Subscribe for more hot Reddit takes in your inbox, guaranteed.